So, France is doubling down on nuclear power, big time. It's their bet to secure the country's energy future. But this massive wager, it comes with an absolutely colossal price tag. We're talking hundreds of billions of euros. So what exactly is France paying for? Come on, let's break down the real cost of this nuclear dream.
Okay, so why are we talking about this right now? Because the game is about to change. In 2026, the old system, a thing called AREN, is going away. Now, AREN basically forced the state-owned utility to sell its nuclear power at a fixed, pretty low price. But the new system, it's going to link prices way more closely to the actual costs. And that means, for the first time, we're getting a totally transparent look at every single euro being spent. And that's exactly what we're going to dig into.
All right, before we can even talk about the price tag, you've got to understand the machine itself. We need to look under the hood. And what we find is an industrial giant. France's huge, but definitely aging nuclear fleet.
And the scale here, it's just massive. France is running 57 nuclear reactors. That makes it one of the most nuclear-powered nations on the entire planet. This fleet isn't just part of their energy grid, it is the backbone of the country's power.
Now look at this. What's really telling is the mix of reactors in that fleet. You can see that the vast majority, like 52 out of 57, are these older 900 and 1300 megawatt models. These are the absolute workhorses of the system. But yeah, they're getting on in years.
And this timeline, it really drives home how old we're talking. The bulk of this fleet was built in a huge rush back in the 70s and 80s, and while the brand new EPR reactor at Flamanville has taken almost 2 decades to build, most of the existing reactors are already past their original 40-year expiration date. This age factor, it's the #1 reason for the crazy costs we're about to see.
So, you have all this aging hardware. It needs a serious overhaul. And I'm not talking about a simple tune-up. No way. This is a multi-billion euro project just to keep the lights on.
The official name for this whole effort is Le Grand Carénage. It literally translates to the Great Refit. And, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. A gigantic, decades-long program to renovate and upgrade all those old reactors, all to stretch their lives out to 60 years.
So what does the biggest industrial tune-up in French history actually cost? Well, the budget they've approved just for the period between 2014 and 2028 is a staggering 67.8 billion euros. And listen, that's just one piece of the pie. It gives you a sense of the sheer financial scale we're dealing with here.
So what does a tune-up that costs that much actually involve? I mean, where is all that money going? Well, it's a whole mix of really critical, complex work. We're talking about huge safety upgrades that were required after the Fukushima disaster. They're replacing enormous components like steam generators. And then there are these incredibly intense 10-year safety reviews they call visite décennale. And on top of all that, they have to deal with new problems as they pop up, like stress corrosion they've been finding in the pipes. Every single one of those 57 reactors has to go through this whole process.
But wait, the costs don't just stop at the power plant gate. Not even close. To get the full picture, you have to look at the entire, incredibly complex fuel cycle. From the second the uranium comes out of the ground to how you store the waste for, centuries.
See, France has what's known as a closed fuel cycle, which is pretty unique. It all starts with mining and enriching uranium. Then, after it's been used in a reactor, that spent fuel gets shipped off to a facility called La Hague. There, they actually reprocess it to pull out usable plutonium and uranium. Those materials then get recycled into brand new MOX fuel at another plant, and whatever's left over, well, that's the really high-level radioactive waste that has to be stored deep underground forever in a place called Cizio. And yeah, every single one of those steps adds its own layer of complexity and, you guessed it, a ton of cost.
Okay, so just to recap, they're spending billions upon billions just to keep the old fleet from falling apart. But at the exact same time, they're kicking off an equally massive plan to build a whole new generation of reactors.
This is the brand new EPR2 program. The goal here is to launch a whole new age of nuclear construction. It kicks off with building 6 of these new generation reactors, but they're already studying the possibility of 8 more after that. The plan, and it's a big one, is to have the very first one up and running by 2038.
And this chart right here really puts the whole financial problem in sharp focus. That huge bar on the left, that's the colossal cost of the Grand Carénage, just keeping the old lights on. But then you have the other bars, the massive investment needed to start building the new EPR2s and upgrade all the fuel facilities to support them. They are trying to fund two separate industrial revolutions at the exact same time. It's an absolutely immense financial balancing act.
So when you add all of this up, what are we even looking at? Really, it's about trying to balance the urgent costs of today with the critical needs of tomorrow.
So here's the bottom line, the most important takeaway. France is making a historic double investment. It's pouring tens of billions into keeping its old fleet alive, while, at the very same time, starting to build its next generation of reactors. It's kind of like trying to completely renovate your old house while you're building a brand new one right next door.
And that leaves us with the final multi-billion-euro question. France is betting everything on its nuclear past and its nuclear future all at once. Can it actually pull it off? Can it successfully manage the unbelievable challenge of running both of these marathon projects at the same time?